The emotion is the magnetic charge. Your intention, your thought, is the information that's carried on that wave. And when you combine a clear intention with an elevated emotion, you begin to produce an effect on matter. You see, the thoughts that you think are the electrical charge in the quantum field. The feelings that you emote are the magnetic charge in the quantum field. And how you think and how you feel broadcasts an electromagnetic signature that influences every single atom in your life.
Welcome to the Mindset by Design podcast with your host, the expert Andy Murphy, where you will learn the tips, tricks, and strategies he teaches his world-class clients to give you the skills to dominate any business.
What's going on, Mindset by Design crew, and welcome to episode 357. Hope you're amazing as always and life is treating you beautiful. It seems like, you know what I mean, I put lots of episodes out every week if you don't know, every single week, Wednesday, Thursday, around then, you know. And it always seems to be coming to near the end of the month. It's always like that. What are we on today, the 19th of May? It's crazy going fast this year, but I really hope that you've made some massive progress this year. I really do. And that doesn't mean necessarily money. That means life. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's so focused on money. Money's massive. Money's important. Money's awesome. All of those things. But you could have all the money in the world and be still left very, very sad, lonely, and empty. And if you don't believe me, it's the truth. I've seen it in so many clients with so much money, and including my own life, when the highs and the lows, and the highs and the lows don't really, well, they don't really hurt you if you're dialed in your brain and body and routines and systems, and you're good in yourself. Then what happens is the vision of what you want for life is what the focus is. So if you've got a clear vision for your life, business, family, whatever the heck it is that's important to you, then guess what? That glimmer of light that's there, that little vision that you have that no one else can see, that's all you need as an entrepreneur. All you need as an entrepreneur is a direction. You just best make sure that that direction is what you want, right? Make sure of that. Because the thing is, it's very easy to have an idea. It's really easy. Do you know what I mean? Give me 20 minutes, I'll give you 20 ideas about a business, an income stream, a niche, however you want to say it, you know? And I really mean that. But what happens is people get very excited about that idea. And they should, absolutely should get excited. But you know what else you should do? You should be focusing on yourself inside, because that business is only going to come to fruition. It's only going to grow from a seed into a beautiful plant or a flower or whatever if you are good inside. And it sounds silly because counterproductive, you know, everyone teaches you the logic. They teach you the systems, they teach you what clicks to do, what things to do, what message you should do. And all of that's really, really cool and massively important. But it's only one half of the equation. You could have the best skill set in the world, but it doesn't mean you're going to be successful. You could have the best mindset in the world, but it doesn't mean you're going to be successful. Both of those things together create a formula, and that formula creates success. That's the truth. So look at it this way, man. If you were an Olympic athlete, what's the difference between someone coming fifth and someone coming first and getting all the glory, the money, the prestige, everything? What's the difference? Well, do you think it's in their skills? Probably both quite a high level if you've got to the Olympics and you're in the final, right? Probably both a high level. Now, it doesn't mean that you're not Usain Bolt, who's like literally probably better than lots of people, or Michael Phelps or someone. But for most people, that first, second place is incredible. But what's the difference? Well, once you've got a certain level of skill set and experience, yeah, it's just the way your brain's wired. It's just what you're thinking. It's just what your beliefs are, your systems. And in that moment, are you able to pivot and make very clinical different decisions about what you're about to do next? Well, that's what makes first and sixth, right? So it's the same in business. It's the same in life. It's the same with every decision that you're about to make for the future. It really is. And so if you've learned all the skills, and I'm sure that you have if you're listening to this, you could be coming from corporate into something new. You could have dipped in performance and are a salesperson or in network marketing or some awesome thing. Or you could be running a massive Fortune 500 company that's in IPO right now. It doesn't matter. Your communication with others and yourself comes from how you feel about the project, the vision, your ability, your self-worth, the other person's ability and self-worth, right? And that's how we formulate teams, we connect them to a larger vision, but also on a day-to-day thing. If you are leading your company, and it could be a one-person brand, it could be 1,000-person brand, but if you're leading that, then you must take responsibility for how you think, how you feel, and how you act in every single moment of your day, right? So some people go, well, what do you mean? I say I tune my brain up 24 hours a day. And people start laughing at 24 hours a day. It's true. I go to bed listening to stuff. I wake up in the middle of the night. I change what I'm listening to. I wake up in the morning. I listen to stuff. I get up. I meditate. I program my brain. I'm optimizing it with nutrition. I'm optimizing it with supplementation. I'm optimizing it with nootropics. All of these things go into making sure that I am doing my best. Plain and simple. And we know inside, deep inside, if we're doing our best. I have a rule. It's a pretty good rule. It's a pretty intense rule. But if I am doing the same things as I was last week, I'm not growing. I'm not growing. And if I'm not growing, then it means my life isn't moving forwards. I'm not advancing. And I'm missing the point in life. You know, that's what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be expanding. We're supposed to be growing. We're supposed to be helping people. We're supposed to be getting better. We're supposed to be helping our families. We're supposed to be whatever it is, right? And if you're not leading your ship, then you're letting everyone else down. And that's what you find in a lot of people with coaching. And I don't just mean mental performance coaching. There's not many people who do mental performance coaching, by the way. They do mindset coaching. And it's a very different thing. We're tuning neurology up, nervous systems up, adjusting memories, deleting memories, building the future and expanding and creating possibilities and solutions and creativity. These are all the things I do. Difference of mindset, right? Yes, the brand is called Mindset by Design, or the podcast is called Mindset by Design. But when you understand what a mindset is, well, it's a set, right? It's a specific view of the world connected to what you're actually doing. So your business state or business mindset is different to your sales, different to your relationship, different to your health, different to every area, right? These are unique versions of you. These are peak states, alter versions of you, and negative states. And we have to navigate around them all for complete mental mastery. And at the end of the day, that's all that life's about. You're here for a reason. That's it. Follow your intuition, follow yourself, and guess what? You'll always be right. And even when you're wrong, you're going to learn and you're going to be right. That's business. Business is a beautiful reflection of where we are at in our own internal growth. If your money sucks right now, well, what is it about yourself that you need to change? Because when you do, you feel about money very differently and you make very different decisions. And those decisions do what? Yeah, those decisions create different behaviors, different actions, and different beliefs. And that creates a different personality. It creates a different version of you. And that is what we're controlling. That's what we're designing, right? So I'm going on a bit of a rant, aren't I? I know I'm going on a bit of a rant, but I care. I really, really care. And that's why I want to share with you something cool today. It's a clip. If you don't know Joe Dispenza, then please look up Joe Dispenza. I've been around Joe's work for about 15 years. Actually, he was one of the key things, or the key people, I should say, that actually changed my focus into neurology and the brain and actually performance. Before that, what I was doing is I was using NLP for the 5 years prior to build high performance, but for sales. I was teaching sales, I was setting up sales departments, I was working with the founders, CEOs. I was also the top performer in investment real estate in 2 different countries. And after nervous breakdown, bankruptcy, after putting together a $100 million resort and being stolen from, if you don't know my story, that's a little fast shot of my story, but that's what took me to performance. That's what took me to LA, and that's what took me to work with Hollywood celebrities and professional athletes and fighters and entrepreneurs and royalty and all the other people I've worked with over 20 years. And it all started there. But without that pinnacle shift in who I was to who I am, and then into who I'm becoming, without that physical and mental shift, nothing changes. And that's what I'm saying to you. You know, with Joe Dispenza, it's great work. He has scientists that work with him, and they show some fantastic things to do with the changes of the brain and nervous system and the chemicals. And he does fantastic work, you know. He talks about the quantum field a lot, and I'm all about quantum, but he uses it as the main thing. So that could put you off, but also, hey, it's just a belief. And whatever a belief is, it's not real. Right? It's just something we hold true with the information that we have at the time. But if our belief is so crystal clear and it affects our filter system in our brain and the neurology or the pathways that are formed, then it's a good belief, right? It's a good belief. So you gotta love Joe. You gotta love Joe. And I really wanted to share some stuff with you today, some basic stuff, but some awesome stuff. And I'll jump in, do my 2 cents worth, as you know that I do on these episodes. And yeah, that's it. We're going to have some fun. We're going to look around the way Joe describes the world and success. And yeah, that's it. I'll see you at the end of the show. Until then, make sure that you are at least doing a few things for me. At least doing a few things for me. One, we got some cool stuff coming out, but I'll let you know very, very soon. The only thing that's available right now is, well, I got a space for a client, right? Massive discount right now. Why? Because I got one space to fill, and it could be you. It could be you. So if you're growing a business right now, if you are stuck or you are on fire, then you need your brain and nervous system conditioned. Why? Because we're expanding. And because we're expanding, we have to become a very different version of us, okay? So it's like an athlete on amateur day or a pro athlete heading towards the Olympics. There's a big difference in who they are. I make sure that you see your life, your business, as that world champion athlete, so we can make very high level decisions. And we, like a muscle, like a personal trainer works on the outside, I work on the inside. And that's how we create massive, massive respect and results. So if that sounds like you, hit me up. Andy Murphy, Mindset, anywhere on social. You can email me and just find me somewhere. Find me somewhere. So what else? Well, check out for that. Rate me a review. Spotify, Apple's even better. So make sure that you write me a review on there. Find me on social and let's hang out. Sound good? Beautiful. Hit those show notes for all the links, but let's take action today. Awesome. Okay, so let's jump into Joe, and I'll see you at the end of the show.
86% of the people that have a smartphone, the first thing they do when they wake up is they do their WhatsApp, their text, their Facebook. They take a picture of their feet. They post it on Facebook. Then they do their Instagram, take a picture of their cat, and then they link in and then they check one email, the other email, they check the news. And now their attention on everything known in their life. They reaffirm their identity. And then they go through all those routine behaviors. 95% of them, they're not even present and conscious. Or they're remembering their problems in their past. That's how they start their day. What do most people do when they wake up in the morning now? What do? Admit it. You go to your cell phone and you go, oh my gosh, Monica's eating carbohydrates again. Oh, look, my boyfriend from high school Facebooked me. Ooh. Oh, look, there's a war in Syria. Everybody goes through their device to plug them in. But what if you woke up in the morning and you said this? What is the greatest expression of myself that I can present to the world today? What if you said, I'm not going to be guilty anymore. I'm done. I'm not going to be unworthy. Those are the emotions, behaviors, and thoughts that are connected to the old self. Do you know that if you woke up in the morning and then you said, who do I want to be when I open my eyes? What thoughts do I want to think? What thoughts do I want to fire and wire in my brain? Let me plan my behaviors today. I'm going to leave my sadness and pain behind, and I'm going to open my heart, and I'm going to feel gratitude. I'm going to feel joy. I'm going to feel inspiration. Your job is to maintain that modified state of mind and body your entire day. And if you're able to maintain that modified state of mind and body every single day, get ready. Because something unusual is going to happen in your life. It's the law. You are going to run into a new opportunity because you're in a new state of being. And that's what we teach people. To rehearse the future. And to take the brain out of the past and put it in the future. Take the body out of the past and put it in the future. But if you get up every single day feeling the same way, and you wake up and you go, oh my God, who's that? Oh, God. Wait, let me remember my problems. Ugh. You just return back to the old self.
Okay, crew, let me jump in there. So, think about that, right? If we know that the brain works very much like a muscle, the software in there, the neurology, works very much like a muscle. If we pump it a specific way, it creates how you think, feel, and act, a behavior, right? Inside that behavior, there is, well, there's movies, there's chemicals, there's feelings, there's focuses, there's beliefs, there's attitudes, there's language, there's value. It could be about the future, the past, or very specific things. And so who you are when you remember those things or think about those things is very important. So think about this, right? Remember a time 20 years ago where you, were just doing life. You could be with family, friends, but, something shitty happened. Do you know what I mean? And you think back to that memory right now. Just seeing what you see and hear what you hear. And feel how it feels like to be back there right now. Just for a moment, play this game with me. Are you the same version now? Are you seeing the world the same way now? Have you had so much more experience now so it shaped your reality? Yes, no, yes, no, yes. Right, of course it is. We're not a 7-year-old child anymore. Think about that. So, what about last week? Remember a time last week when you were living? Could have been good, could have been bad, could have been awesome, could have been whatever, man. But you were in a memory from last week. Okay? Are you the same person as you were last week? No. No, you're not, right? In any capacity, or you shouldn't be. Why? Because you've had so much more experience. You'll have so many more lessons, perspectives. You've gone through roller coasters of life. You're right. All makes sense? So why wouldn't we allow ourselves to change? Why wouldn't we allow ourselves to step up, be different? Why wouldn't we do that? If we know that the brain is malleable, if we know that every single cell on our body is changeable, then why wouldn't we allow ourselves to be different? Does that make sense? Because who you're going to be when you've got that level of success that you desire, that money, that prestige, that status, right? Whatever it is for you that you desire, helping a million people through charity, whatever it is for you, you are not going to be who you are now in the future. You can't. You can't create the results of who you are or who you were to get what you want. It's impossible. And so when you start to understand this, you start to understand the power of your thinking. And what Joe talks about very, very, very brilliantly there is the morning, right? Most people do exactly that. They wake up, social media goes on, and they start looking around at other people's lives. And if we can only truly focus on about 3 to 5 things, where is our neurology or our brain software starting to focus on? Is it what we want? Is it what we don't want? And you might go, oh yeah, I'm just do this to just, It's nonsense and noise. Because your brain replicates whatever it is around the most. And whatever it is around the most isn't the future or serving you at the highest level, then you're doing yourself a disservice. Does that make sense? So the mornings have to change. I know when I'm overly stressed or putting too much pressure on myself, I watch too much social media, or I watch it, kind of watch it, right? But you use so much more social media. But the truth is, it's nonsense. Yeah, man. The truth is, it's just hurting you. Social media should be a tool. It should be a tool in your toolbox for marketing, for connecting to people. It should not be to follow nonsense and noise as a chemical distraction from life. Does that make sense? I hope so. So let's jump back in.
So the act of planning your behaviors, the research shows that as you begin to plan what you're going to do and how you're going to do it, you begin to change your brain to look like the event has already occurred. And you begin to prime your brain into the future and out of the past. And if you can create the emotion, you are more prone to get your behaviors to match your intentions, your actions equal to your thoughts, and your mind and body working together, and you will begin to arrive at a new destiny. We've seen it over and over and over again. What is the simple definition of quantum? Quantum physics says that your mind and matter are so intimately connected that it's impossible to separate the two. That matter has a mind, and mind is in matter. And you can't pull them apart. And so in quantum physics, it's amazing because when they started studying the very tiny particles in atoms, like electrons and photons, they expected that those particles would behave like planets rotating around the sun, predictably, but they don't. They respond to mind. And so now, all of a sudden, the quantum physicist comes along to measure the electron. And the electron goes from a wave of possibility, and all that energy collapses into a particle, and it's called collapsing the wave function. They turn their back and no longer look and observe the electron, and it turns back into energy. So mind is affecting matter. So, in other words, if you wake up every morning and you do the same thing that you've been doing for the last 10 years, then you're caught in the predictable world of Newtonian physics. And if you're doing the same thing over and over again, we can take your past and lift it up and set it on your future, and it's going to be exactly the same. So then if you're viewing your life from the same level of mind every single day, then you are collapsing the same possibilities into the same reality. So if you teach people then to find the present moment, in quantum physics, all possibilities exist in the present moment. But most people's brains are anticipating the future based on the past, and they're not present. So then it requires training and practicing finding the present moment and beginning to change their habits and their thoughts and their behaviors. Most people don't know this, but there's an invisible field of energy around your body. And when you react to someone or something, you draw from this invisible field and you turn it into chemistry. And the field around your body shrinks. And now you're more matter and less energy. You're more particle and less wave. And most people then, when you are matter trying to change matter, you always try to force the outcome. You try to control the outcome. You try to predict the outcome. And people then get competitive, or they hold on, or they manipulate, or they cheat, or they steal, because that's the only way they can get what they want. But the quantum model of reality, when you are truly in the present moment, when a person begins to open their heart, and they can begin to sustain an elevated emotion, they begin to broaden the magnetic field around their body to 9 meters wide. Now they're more energy than matter. They're more wave than particle. And they can exert better effects on reality. So then think of, when you open your heart, this is science, like dropping a pebble in water. You produce a ripple. If you drop a bigger stone, you produce a bigger ripple. If you're able to sustain that state, you keep dropping the same rock over and over again, and you broadcast a signature into the field. The emotion is the magnetic charge. Your intention, your thought, is the information that's carried on that wave. And when you combine a clear intention with an elevated emotion, you begin to produce an effect on matter. You see, the thoughts that you think are the electrical charge in the quantum field. The feelings that you emote are the magnetic charge in the quantum field. And how you think and how you feel broadcasts an electromagnetic signature that influences every single atom in your life.
So let's jump in there, crew. Let's jump in there. So whether you you might have heard a lot of interviews with quantum physicists, and it's very fascinating, right? So obviously you've got one side of quantum physics which absolutely thinks what he's talking about is nonsense, right? Absolute nonsense. You cannot control or predict a reality or an event, right? So what he's talking about also, he's referencing the double slit experiment. The double slit experiment is particle and waves, right? So what happens is it's the observation of the outcome, or the calculation of the observation of the outcome, that is able to change from a wave to a particle, okay? So look online about the double slit experiment, but what he's really showing there is it's our observation of that outcome that we want, which puts then into the quantum field, where it's something called superpositioning. Superpositioning is where all dimensions or possibilities actually exist, and that moves into string theory. And string theory is where that we have infinite dimensions being played out simultaneously right now until we decide on an outcome, and that is collapsed into our reality. Okay, so that's what he's talking about with the ripples also. So it's like you have a what's the best way to describe this? It's like you have a rubber mat which is on a frame, and if you took a ball, a heavy ball, and put it right into the middle, what does that do? Yeah, it pulls the whole rubber mat down. It stretches it, right? Well, that's what they talk about as being pulled into our reality. So whatever your beliefs are around quantum physics and this terminology around it, you might think it's absolute BS and woo-woo. All right, change it. Change it. Change it to your reticular activating system, or your filter system inside of your brain that's connected to neurology, and what pattern you are building of the neurology. Then the synapse connections connect, the pattern deepens, it adjusts your filter system to allow 134,000 bits of information, which is then our own reality. So whatever way you want to go, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, let's say this is true. Again, what do we know about beliefs? Beliefs are only true with the information that we hold at the time. So let's say this was true, what he's saying. And there is infinite possibilities. And we are electromagnetic beings. And the emotion that we put out is the charge. And the idea is the intent. Then let's just say this is real for a moment, and we had unwavering belief that this was truth. What would you be doing next? What would you really want? Do you know what I mean? What are you really doing that's holding you back? That's not serving you anymore? Who are you around the most that isn't serving you or holding you back? Now, you might go, yeah, but they're holding me back because da-da-da. If we had lived in infinite possibilities and infinite dimensions, then why are you allowing them around you to create that disturbance in the quantum field? Does that make sense? So again, it's all up to us, right? If we're living in a holographic reality and everything is absolutely reflected back at us, and the inside us creates the outside world, then what is it we need to know about ourselves that we need to change? Does that make sense? So let's just say the science now is starting to catch up with this concept. Even when we go into entanglement in quantum physics, you know, the Chinese have recently split that atom, blasted one half of it into space, the other here on Earth. They affected the half that was on Earth, and it instantly, and I'm talking instantly, no delay, affected the other half of that particle on in space. Crazy. So everything's interconnected. So let's just say what he's talking about is that we create ripples, right? Pow, 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 ripples. And people feel our energy. Because what he's talking about is 9 meters, not feet, 9 meters. So that's why someone on stage can have a magnetism, right? What do you think's going on there? Well, it's energy, right? And so when we start to look at the world this way, whether you believe it or not, just imagine that you did. What are you doing? Why aren't we playing full out? Why aren't we giving it everything we've got? It's about changing who you are to allow that experience to overflow into our reality. Does that make sense? I hope so. I hope so. I know that was pretty deep, but I'm sure you came with me. Maybe you need to listen to this episode again and share it with somebody, but let's jump back in.
The thought sends the signal out, and the feeling draws the event back. So if you're walking around your life feeling sorry for yourself and feeling like a victim, you are broadcasting that signature into the field. And you will create more experiences to suffer, because we are not punished for our sins. We are punished by our sins. And sin is an attitude. And sin is how you think and how you feel. So then when you cause people to give up their guilt and their shame and their unworthiness and teach them how to open their heart and create coherent waves in their brain and in their heart, they are going to produce the miraculous. It takes training, and it takes practice, and it takes learning new information and deprogramming ourselves into believing that we're limited. But if you're living by the hormones of stress and you have no energy, no field, then you can't produce an effect on matter. So then, life is about the management of energy. And where you place your attention is where you place your energy. And if your attention is on the knowns and in the predictable future, or your attention is on the familiar emotions of the past, you are siphoning energy out of the present moment, and you have no energy to create with. And when you're able to do this and practice it really well, you will begin to do what's innately your birthright, and that is to create an unknown or wonderful experience in your life. So it just takes practice in order to do it.
It does. It just takes practice, right? Remember, personal trainer builds the outside, we build the inside, or I build the inside for you. So it doesn't matter what level you're playing at. You've got an idea that you want to get out to the world, or you're all the way up to doing $100 million and doing an IPO or even above. I can help, man. I can help. I've got some masterminds launching. I got some private immersions happening. I've also got a space for one client. So if you want to accelerate who you are in every capacity, and you don't even think you can afford it, doesn't matter, message me, right? I should have my application form up and running again very, very soon, because I haven't done that in a while. So I will put the link in the show notes, but you can head over to andymurphy.online and take a little look who I am. New site's always coming out soon. It's we're so close with all of this stuff. We're so close. I'm so pumped. And I'm just here to help you. So if this resonated with you, then come and find me. Let's hang out and let's go and kick ass together. Sound good? Beautiful. Hit those show notes up. Come and connect with me, Andy Murphy Mindset, anywhere on social media, andymurphy.online. And again, awesome stuff is about to happen for you. So let's do this. Until the next time, much, much love. You have an amazing week. And oh yeah, one more thing. 357 times now. One more thing. Why don't you smile for me?
Thanks so much for listening to today's episode of the Mindset by Design podcast with your host and NLP expert, Andy Murphy. We'll catch you next time.